Good day everyone, I am lovely Sister Rita from Justice Colleges of the Philippines, and for today's video, I'm going to tackle the 8 major groups of waste management method. And first, let's discuss what waste is. So, according to the presentation, waste are unwanted or unusable materials. It is any substance which is discarded after primary use or is worthless, defective, and of no use. A lot of waste is in the form of trash or garbage. In some cases, waste can pose a threat to human health. So, according to the presentation, yung mga waste daw, ito yung mga bagay or any substances na um, was discarded by people because it is tapos nang gamitin with its primary purpose. And it is usually in the form of trash or garbage. So, kung ano man yung mga nakikita natin dyan sa mga paligid natin na hindi na kailangan, madalas yung mga nasa basurahan, that's what we call waste. And according to this, in some cases, waste can pose a threat to human health. Yes, and it is so obvious na yung waste, meron talaga siyang negative to human health or sa atin. Because especially yung mga tinatawag nating toxic waste, which is even though naaamoy lang natin, maaaring maging dahilan nito na magkaroon tayo ng mga skin diseases or cancer, and it may also lead for human into death. And that is what we call waste. So we have here the 5 different types of waste, and they are liquid waste, solid rubbish, organic waste, recyclable rubbish, and hazardous waste. Okay, liquid waste. Liquid waste can be classified as either point or non-point source waste. Point source wastewater refers to all manufactured liquid waste. Non-point source waste is a natural liquid waste. This waste is usually found in households, businesses, and industries. So, dito, itong liquid waste, so from the word itself, it is in the form of liquid. So, ito yung mga wastewater or yung mga water na nagamit na which was contaminated by substances na hindi naman dapat nandoon sa water. So, ito daw liquid waste, nahahati siya into 2 categories. First is the point source wastewater. So, ito daw, it refers to the manufactured liquid waste. So, it came from manufacturing industries na especially those food industries na kailangan talaga na gumamit sila ng water para masustain nila yung business nila. And then, itong mga liquid waste na to, maaaring magaling to sa mga pipes, sa mga drains. Yan, ganon. Yun yung point source wastewater. When we say non-point source waste naman, it is a natural liquid waste. Ito naman yung tinutukoy naman ito yung mga waterways na nanggagaling sa agriculture, sa gardens, and dun sa mga construction na ginagawa sa kalsada. So, from the word itself, natural liquid waste. So, ito yung mga nanggagaling sa mga natural activities ng mga tao. So, this waste is usually found in household, businesses, and industries. As I said a while ago, so there are wastewater which came from manufacturing industries, which is businesses and industries. Then, in the households naman, yung mga water na ginagamit natin from bathing, from washing dishes, that's one of the source of wastewater. Okay, let's move on with the solid rubbish. Solid rubbish includes a large variety of items that may be found in households or commercial locations. So, ito yung solid rubbish naman, it is waste that is in the form of solid. From the word itself, solid, so, ito yung counterpart of liquid, which is this materials which molecules was not flow easily, not like the liquid waste. So, these solid rubbish daw, they are divided into 4 categories. So, first is plastic waste. So, of course, this waste or these materials that there's no use already, of course, it was made by plastic, like plastic bottles, plastic cup, plastic plate, like that. Then, paper or card waste. So, ito naman yung mga newspaper na mga ginamit na or hindi na mapakinabangan tao. Then, tins and metals naman, dito naman na-include yung mga aluminum, yung mga cans sa mga delata na sikat sa mga instant ulam. Then, ceramic and glass naman. This solid rubbish these items was made by ceramic, of course, like glass, plates, ganun. Which, of course, was made by ceramic materials. Okay, let's move on with the organic waste. Organic waste is also common in almost all households. It is broken down by microorganisms over time, but it still needs to be appropriately disposed of when generated. So, ito namang organic waste, it refers to those wastes, especially that came from the food that we cannot consume na. And itong organic waste, yung benefits nitong organic waste nito kapag hinalo sila sa soil, tapos nabulok sila doon, maaring makapagdagdag nutrients sa soil or maging pampataba yun. Okay. Next is recyclable rubbish. Recyclable rubbish refers to all waste that can be converted to reusable products. So, this recyclable rubbish, pinaka-basic examples nito, ito yung mga plastic materials that can be formed into the new materials or for another purpose. Yun yung mga recyclable rubbish. Okay, next is the hazardous waste. It refers to any waste that is toxic, flammable, corrosive, or reactive. Such waste can be harmful to both you and the environment. Examples of hazardous waste include toxic chemicals, and electronic rubbish. So, ito naman yung tinutukoy ko kanina ng mga toxic waste na even though naaamoy lang natin, maaari siyang mag-cause ng mga diseases or skin diseases. Yan. Pinaka-example niyan is yung mga pintura, and then yung mga alam niyo yung mga ini-spray sa lamok, yon. Pag hindi na sila nagamit, tapos kung saan-saan lang pinaglalagay, maaring magkaroon niya ng negative effect sa mga makakaamoy nun. Okay, let's move on with the waste management. So, waste management includes the processes and actions required to manage waste from its inception to its final disposal. Waste management deals with all types of waste, including industrial, biological, household, municipal, organic, biomedical, and radioactive wastes. Health issues are associated throughout the entire process of waste management. So, when we say waste management, from the word itself, it is a process which manage wastes. So, later on, we will discuss the 8 methods of waste management. But first, let's discuss what this waste management is. So, itong waste management, syempre, from the word itself nga, ito yung mga processes na para ma-dispose ng maayos yung mga waste natin. And bakit ba nagkaroon ng mga gantong waste management? Or bakit ba naisip ng mga tao na kailangan natin magkaroon ng waste management? Bakit? It is because the health issues that has correlated with the wastes or with the garbages. Kasi daw, itong mga wastes na to, meron tong negative impact with our health, but not just with the human health, but of course to the animals' health, and plants' population, and other living things that we shared with in this earth. So, kailangan daw nating ma-manage itong wastes, and according to the research, these are the 8 major groups of waste management. First, we have waste reduction and reuse. Waste reduction or source reduction is the practice of preventing waste by decreasing or eliminating the amount of materials initially used. Some examples of waste reduction include purchasing products in bulk quantities rather than single servings like cereal or potato chips. So dito naman, ang isa daw na paraan para magkaroon tayo ng waste management is reduction. So itong waste reduction, it refers to the process or which we consume a little or we purchase a little that we can consume rather than purchasing a bulk of product na hindi naman natin mako-consume. Like kunwari kapag bumili tayo ng food, bibili lang tayo ng food na sapat lang sa atin and hindi yun sobra-sobra na magkakaroon tayo ng wastes na imbis na makain pa yun ng iba or imbis na walang wastes na ma-dispose, magkakaroon ng wastes na ma-dispose kasi nga sobra-sobra yung binili niya or pinurchase niya. So, reuse is the action or practice of using an item, whether for its original purpose or to fulfill a different function. It should be distinguished from recycling, which is the breaking down of used items to make raw materials for the manufacture of new products. So, we are all familiar with reusing products, right? When we use a certain products with other purposes, like yung plastic bottles na pinaglagyan ng, for example, is Coke, Royal, gano'n. Then, pagkatapos magamit yun na pinaglagyan ng mga soda, is maaari natin siyang gamitin na ganun pa rin yung shape niya, na ganun pa din yung pinaka form niya, but in other purpose like maaari natin yung tamnan ng mga halaman. Pinakalalagyan nyo ng soil and then dun tayo magtatanim ng halaman. So, that's the first process of waste management, which is waste reduction and reuse. Next, we have recycling. It is the process of converting waste materials into new materials and objects. It is an alternative to conventional waste disposal that can save material and help lower greenhouse gas emission. It can also prevent the waste of potentially useful materials and reduce the consumption of fresh raw materials, reducing energy use, air pollution, and water pollution. In this type of waste management naman, it is recycling. Pinaka-basic example nito, it's yung mga plastic materials na maaari nating i-recycle, na maaari nating i-form into another products. Yun. That's the recycling. Maaari ding nating i-recycle yung mga newspapers into another product, right? Next is composting. It is the natural process of decomposition and recycling of organic material into a humus-rich soil amendment known as compost. It is a process by which organic wastes are broken down by microorganisms, generally bacteria and fungi, into simpler forms. Adding compost to soil increases organic matter content. So, ito naman yung katulad ng sinasabi ko kanina, madalas dito sa composting is the organic wastes na nanggagaling sa mga food wastes natin. And kapag hinalo yun sa soil, yung pinaka-benefits na sa soil is maaari ito maging pampataba. Or how? Because this kind of wastes, they can add nutrients to the soil na pinagtatamnan ng mga another seeds. Ganon. Next is fermentation. This process allows conversion of waste materials containing lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates into acids or alcohol. Ito namang fermentation, ito naman yung pinaka-conversion ng mga materials or waste materials na merong ingredients na lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates. Then, kino-convert yon sa acids or alcohol. So, mamaya makikita nyo kung paano itong fermentation. Itong fermentation, it was divided into two, which are ethanol fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. Let's discuss each of them. Lactic acid fermentation. It is a metabolic process by which glucose or other 6 carbon sugars, also disaccharides of 6 carbon sugars, and for example is sucrose or lactose, are converted into cellular energy and the metabolite lactate, which is lactic acid in solution. And yung process nitong lactic acid fermentation, first itong lactic acid, ito occurs in bacteria. Glucose, and then the glucose is converted into two molecules of pyruvate. Pyruvate is converted into lactate via enzyme lactate dehydrogenase. So that's what lactic acid is. Next is ethanol fermentation. It is also called alcoholic fermentation. It is a biological process which converts sugars such as glucose, fructose, and sucrose into cellular energy, producing ethanol and carbon dioxide as byproducts. The process of this ethanol fermentation, or first is it occurs usually in yeast and some bacteria. Glucose is firstly converted into two molecules of pyruvate. Then pyruvate is then converted into acetaldehyde. Then dito naman na-release yung carbon dioxide reaction. Then the acetaldehyde then converted to ethanol. Yung pinaka example nitong ethanol fermentation is kapag nagbe-bake kayo, kasi 'di ba, parang kapag nagbe-bake kayo, parang may bula doon na naiiwan or lumalabas. So, yun yung pinaka-waste na convert into a byproducts, which is yung bubbles. Next is landfills. A landfill site, also known as a tip, dump, rubbish dump, garbage dump, or dumping ground. It is a site for the disposal of waste materials. Landfill is the oldest and most common forms of waste disposal. Ito namang landfills, siguro naman lahat tayo familiar dito. No? Ito madalas iniipon yung mga waste materials or garbages na kinukuha sa bawat barangay. Sa bawat area ng Pilipinas, maraming landfills na makita nyo talaga na bundok-bundok yung mga basura doon. So, that's what landfill is. Next is incineration. It is the high temperature burning, rapid oxidation of a waste. It is also known as controlled flame combustion or calcination, and is a technology that destroys organic constituents in waste materials. New techniques are developed for this burning process, uses energy generating methods. So, ito namang incineration, ito yung destructing of wastes by burning. And noong una, akala ko tong incineration is meron siyang napaka-negative effect sa environment natin kasi it is a kind of destructing waste, which is burning, na maglalabas siya ng gas emissions sa air natin, na makakasira talaga sa ozone layer natin. But the benefits of this kind of waste management is that yung heat na nagmumula or pinoprovide nitong process ng waste management na to is maaari siyang gamitin as a source of energy. And yung energy na yon na maaari natin gamitin sa electricity na pinaka-necessity din talaga natin sa pang-araw-araw natin. And then, yung another benefits din ito is yung ash. Kasi nga, 'di ba, kapag nagsusunog tayo ng isang bagay, 'di ba, nagte-turn ito into ash. Then yung ash na 'yon, maaari siyang gamitin sa hydroponic. Ito namang hydroponic process, ito yung cultivation of plants without using any soil. Ang ginagamit lang nila is solution or solvents, which is one of ingredients of this is the ash. So yun, yun yung pinaka-benefits ng incineration. Meron siyang hydroponic purposes, and the heat coming from this process is we can use that as a source of energy. Okay, I think this will be the last one, the land application. This land application was defined as the controlled application of wastewater onto the land surface to achieve a planned degree of treatment through natural, physical, chemical, and biological processes within the plant soil-water matrix. It is the most common disposal method for treated wastewater in the U.S. and is the preferred method in many states. Land-applying effluent can reduce demand for fresh water, provide nutrients to soil, and keep potential contaminants out of waterways. So, dito naman sa land application, pinaka-focus nito is yung mga wastewater. Itong wastewater na to, they mix it into the soil na ang benefits nun is it provides nutrients to soil. And then, nakakapag-reduce din to sa demand for fresh water, and it keeps potential contaminants out of waterways. Kasi nga, yung mga wastewater nandoon sa soil, which yung benefits is provide nutrients sa soil. Maaari siyang maging pampataba, and yun yung pinaka-other purpose niya. Diba? And ito daw land application, it is the most common disposal method for treated wastewater in the US. So, it is usual method of their waste management in terms of wastewater. And in other states, ginagawa din nila ito. But, I guess in the Philippines, it is not that popular. Okay, so for the conclusion of our discussion, waste management is an important issue that needs governmental action quickly. So, alam naman natin na we can see wastes everywhere. We can see garbages in the canal, in every street, right? And then, dito sinasabi na nangangailangan daw talaga to ng governmental action. Kasi yung government ang pinaka-pillar natin para sa management ng mga problems sa ating society. At present, there is very little awareness exists regarding the issue in our society. The practices of bringing forth waste are too risky not only for today, but they could be dangerous for our future generation. So, dito sinasabi na yung awareness daw about this issue, about this waste management issue in our society, meron lang daw na little level of awareness ang mga tao sa atin. And it is too risky, not just for today, but also for future generation. Kasi kapag there are a lot of garbages everywhere, it means that these people are risky in different kinds of diseases that we can get from different kinds of places. It is very important to educate people and tell them to adopt practices for recycle, reuse, reduce rather than generating waste. Municipalities and governments should pay importance to disposal of waste. Individual participation is required. So dito sa sinasabi na hindi lang daw dapat tayo nakaasa sa government, sa action ng government, but our individual participation is also required. Kapag natuto tayong mag-recycle, reuse, and reduce, malaki ang tulong nito or contribution nito para sa pagbawas ng pag-generate ng mga waste. And hindi lang tayo nakakatulong to ourselves but also to our mother nature. And then, This my references for this discussion, and thank you for listening. So that would be all for today, and thank you.